on, everybody? Welcome into The Highlight, a business podcast for only the most serious business people. And I got to be honest, today is going to be rough for your boy because, you know, I do not like fun, don't like having fun. I think business is only for the most serious people in the world. And I have the two probably least serious people I've ever met in my entire life, but somehow still smart and professional. Well, first, I want to introduce my co-founder, Austin. What's up, Austin? How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. Ready to have a real serious conversation with our good friend and guest, Zach Ford, today.
Yeah, Zach, welcome to The Highlight, man. We're happy to share it
Thanks
with
for
you
having
today.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm honored to be on. It's been a journey to watch you guys build what you've built so far, so I'm stoked to be here.
Yeah, well, you know, what's fun for me is that you and I, you know, we worked together at Ramsey, and obviously Austin was there too, but you and I were on the actual social media team together, and so you and I have had
Right.
hundreds of hours of conversations about marketing and strategy and all that stuff. So
Too many.
let's hope we didn't blow all the good stuff back then. Now that the mics are on, let's hope we do something
We're good to
interesting
go.
today. Well, I'd love for you to give everybody a little bit of a background on like how you got into social media marketing and what you think about it.
Social media marketing, everybody. 101. Welcome to class. No, for me, it's my TED Talk, story of my life. I got into social media because of MySpace back in the day. You know, a lot of people listening to the podcast, I'm sure they remember and are familiar with it, but it's a really good reminder how fleeting social media is, because MySpace back in the day was like me saying Instagram right now, and everybody here's like, yeah, tell me how to win. Tell me what to do to grow my following on Instagram. But back in the day with MySpace, I mean, it was that and like Zanga and, you know, pretty much it. And so I had a band that was doing well on MySpace. We were recording songs in our bedroom, and we're getting hundreds of thousands of plays. And that was just, you know, I was 16 at the time when that was happening. And so to me, to be able to grow up in a world where you could make something from nothing, just grab a microphone, make a song, upload it to MySpace, because it was such a music-centered platform, and all of a sudden have hundreds of thousands of people being like, I connect, I resonate, was just mind-blowing. And so for me to be able to see that power at a young age, like it was kind of that moment where, yes, I loved making music, but I was more infatuated with the ability to reach people. I mean, really to be able to do something, reach a lot of people, and that's not changed since those days. So just one thing after the next, have continued down that road since 16, you know, back in the old 2000s.
I think what we didn't realize with MySpace was that it was the first time people could really be their own media company, even if you were a single band, small band, you know, or if you're actually like a local restaurant or something like that. All of a sudden you could actually own the media that you used to have to pay to access. And I think back to that time, and I was a kid back then, you know, I think we were the same age. I didn't use it for anything other than like setting my top 8 friends and just, you know, getting kicked out of other people's friend group. I mean, it was, but like, you don't realize what tool you had in front of you at the time. And it's funny that 15 years later, people still don't get it. People still don't get the power of social media. They still don't understand that like CBS, ABC, Fox, like they're all on the way out. Selling access to those audiences is a dead business model. They just don't know it yet. That's why they're trying to get on the streaming platform so quickly. And then it's like nobody has not nobody, but very few people still have a strategy, or don't have a strategy actually, for making content on the internet. So like, what do you think is the hang up with people? Like, why do they not buy into the, like, you are now the media machine?
I think, and Austin, I'm curious to hear your opinion on this too, but social media is so accessible to people. And I think that things that are very accessible are often undervalued, and even in terms of importance are undervalued. So when you have something that is just, it feels like it's just with me every day and it's on my phone, and I don't think of it the same way that I would think about, oh, I got to go start an SEO campaign business. And I don't treat it with the same respect. And so something that I feel like the reason why most people don't have something in social media is because they believe they're an expert. And they, you know, and I would put it to the younger generation to say, you know, you believe you're an expert. And I would put it on the older generation to say the mistakes are that they think the younger generation are experts. And so you end up with these really big gaping holes in companies of confusion. And it's either you get hubris, which is I know how to do everything and you know nothing, or you end up with people who actually really do have wisdom that you could take from Viacom and network upon network and apply it to social media. But those guys are going, we don't get it. The younger generation does. And so to me, that's where you have this, you have these opportunities for you and I and Austin to make an income going. We get it. We've been in it. We also are not afraid to admit we don't know everything, and we need to go back and look at some of these traditional marketing models and bring those in. There's so much to be learned from a mail subscription model that can be laid on top of Snapchat or laid on top of a platform. And the younger generations don't know that. And the older generations don't think it's relevant. And so we've had a lot of fun getting in the weeds and going, okay, stages still matter. Like getting on stage and talking in front of people still matters, even if all it is just to help there be this belief underneath for the audience there that that person's important. And so you talk about this a lot, but that's a TED talk in a few breaths of you have this thing that everyone thinks they're a professional at, and very few people are. I mean, really very few people are. And the ones that actually are may not even know it.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I mean, just because you have everyday accessibility to something, people probably feel that they have that 10,000 hours because they've spent that 10,000 hours scrolling. When the reality is, they haven't put the 10,000 hours of thinking into the psychology of what actually stops someone in their scroll, gets them to take the next action and the next and the next. And I love that you bring in the fact that you can layer so many of these things on top of each other because, obviously what we do a lot of the time is focusing on how your digital advertising and your social media can play well together. And you're absolutely right that this is overlooked, because what people are oftentimes forgetting is they put a lot of time into creating the video. They put a lot of time into creating the content. They do all these things correctly, but then they forget about the other opportunities on the table, such as you can take an extra 45 seconds if you know what you're doing to build out an audience to make sure that these people are retargetable so that come Black Friday, you can sell them the thing. Or, if these people watch the video, now you can show them the next video. They just don't know that those tools are available because they've spent their 10,000 hours scrolling. And so, I think the value, oftentimes gets overlooked.
I've seen a lot of times when I'm talking to clients, they say, Chandler, I don't see I'm going to make money on social media. Like I don't have that big a following, which like following is a whole nother thing. Like we're not even in a following based algorithm anymore. It's now an interest based algorithm, which is something we can get into in a second. But
for sure,
the thing they're concerned about is cash flow. They're like, hey, we spent money on this thing. I need the money to come back. And then that's why we sell the high beam marketing flywheel. Like that's why paid ads comes first. But like social media is a big component of a successful paid ad campaign, because at the end of the day, social media is not really about making money. It's nice when it happens. But it's really just like a cherry on top. The thing you're doing there is you're building those relationships with people, and then you come on the back of it and you pull the audience's interest, or I'm sorry, you leverage the audience's interest based on the previous social media content that you put out, and then all of a sudden you show them a retargeted ad to go click something and do something. They're much more likely to do it. Austin, we see it time and time again that the cheapest audiences are the ones that are engaged in the last 90, 180 days, right?
Yeah. And I mean, if you've got an account that you've been building for a while, in those cases, it's oftentimes 30 days, getting them to take a valuable engagement or a video view or something that's highly relevant, and then turning around 15, 30 days later and selling them that thing. That's one of the best performing audiences you're going to have. Specifically for e-commerce, but for a lot of these campaigns.
Yeah, I mean, we compare good advertising strategies and good marketing strategies to farming all the time. I mean, and social media is really the initial part of the farming strategy, where it's like, hey, we're going to make this type of content. We're going to start putting this sort of out into the world, and we're going to cultivate these relationships. So, Zach, like what kind of content should a small business be thinking about when it comes to trying to start to build and maintain and grow relationships with a potential customer?
I think there's like really three parts to it, if you will. I wish it was as easy as just being able to say one size fits all, do this. In some cases there are, and where you can apply that are things like formatting. And what I mean by formatting it's like one thing that you cannot get away from, no matter what industry you're in, is a 9:16 video, which is your vertical video. It's playing on every platform and most mediums right now. And most ad sets, you can use a 9:16 video. You can't get away from that. Now, what you can do is start to play in what platforms make sense for your business. And so, a landscaping business is going to do different behaviors on LinkedIn. Maybe they use LinkedIn as recruiting for their business, and that's fantastic. It's not weird to post a job listing on LinkedIn every day. You don't do that on Facebook because, again, it's a relationship thing. People aren't on Facebook to get hired. They want to see manicured lawns. They want to hear about a story that was really successful for one of your clients. So to me, if I'm using landscape as an example. One of the guys I work with is a landscaper, and someone who's like in landscaping. If you're going to say what type of content you should create, the overarching things I would encourage you to do are be on TikTok. So it would require you to start looking at when I search landscaping on TikTok, what are the videos that hit me right away? And what can I do to start to map to what is being looked for or at least what the platform thinks is relevant to that person on the other end of it. What you're going to see right now is if you were to look up landscaping on TikTok, you're immediately going to see humor. You're going to see someone doing a funny sound to somebody being on a lawnmower. You're going to see a manicured lawn, and you're probably going to see a landscaper who is speaking directly to the landscaping, talking to other landscapers, creating humor there. So for each platform, you're going to see a different type of content you should create. Yeah. Short form video is going to apply to all of them. And I know you got things to say about that too. But for me, it's like, once you get down into the platform, what platform makes sense for you to be on? When you're there, what are other successful landscapers doing, small businesses to your niche, doing on that platform to reach their customers? And what makes sense for you to do? If everybody's got a drone pilot being out there doing drones of their property, you might not be able to afford that. Find the way to flip it. What can you do with the budget you have right now to start making content? Don't let those excuses of, well, everybody's doing this and it's snowing where we are. We can't cut grass yet. How are we supposed to? No, find a way to break through and don't sell out on excuses. Like there's a way.
We talk all the time about,
I love that,
best practices and using other people's information to help your business. Like there's no reason you have to go to the well and learn the lesson the hard way. You can do what you just described and go consume the content every day for 20 minutes, do that for a month. And then by month 2, you will make pretty good content. Like it's not
right.
Where people get into trouble with social media content in the beginning is that they don't actually consume it enough and they don't know enough about the different platforms. And so what I would recommend doing, and I'm curious what you think about this as well. Like I would imagine most small businesses, if you're doing it yourself, like if you're not hiring a guy like Zach from Enter Square to come do your stuff or High B Marketing, if you're not hiring us to do your stuff, you're probably doing it on your own, which means you probably need to pick one platform and then execute really, really well on that platform. Right. Now, I think there is TikTok has a little bit of local stuff too right now. I think they're testing a lot of that from an algorithm standpoint of like showing local videos. Like, because when I'm visiting my family in Cincinnati, it's much different than when I'm visiting my other family in Dallas. And then it's much different than when I'm here in Tennessee. So there is some local advantages to posting on TikTok. I think Instagram is still the strongest thing for organic local reach. At least that's what my analytics are showing me. So I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. It depends on, again, I go back to like, what are you doing? If I'm a landscaper, I'm not going to leave Instagram out. I'm going to do Instagram. I'm going to be hashtagging using local hashtags on my platform. I know SEO is king right now in the world of social media. I know keywords in social media are important. And so when you're doing a post for Instagram, whether it is an image, an album, a carousel, or a Reels, using that caption space to feed it some words that will apply to SEO, that's going to help you on TikTok as well. But let's say, for example, I was cutting somebody's grass in Franklin, Tennessee. I would be like, beautiful day in Franklin, Tennessee, cutting grass for whatever the family is. I'd tag them. And then I would still go in and add 3 to 10 hashtags about macro, like the top level. I'm going to hit some of the landscaping hashtags, but then I'm also going to hit those really niche visit Franklin TN. I'm going to go in and find a few other really localized hashtags to give the algorithm enough to pick up on putting me in the explore feed of somebody else. So, but that's going to change per platform. I think Facebook right now is wildly underrated for localized businesses. Mm-hmm. And why I say that is because on no other platform can you go in as the owner of the platform on your own Facebook page, go into another platform and answer directly to someone looking for a service, except for Facebook. And what I mean by that is right now, if you're listening in your landscaping business, join your local Facebook groups that are going to be, for us, it's I Heart Spring Hill, TN, or I Heart Columbia. Every group has one. Go in there and just provide value as an owner. Someone says, who can I hire as a moving company? Answer them, go, these are the best guys in town. Make sure that you're set up as a profile owner to have a clear tie back to what does this guy do. If I'm an owner of landscape company, my bio on Facebook is owns such and such landscape company, does this with landscape. My profile photo is me cutting grass. Like, it's really clear to an end consumer. So, but I love that because I've seen real estate agents get houses sold that way. I've seen landscapers pick up $40,000, $50,000 jobs that way, just because they can answer someone in their time of need in their local market. And they may not even need someone, but I 100% have utilized people that were recommended in a Facebook post in one of our groups. And half the time it may have been the owner recommending it, but just because they were the first there, they got my business and someone else didn't. And so don't sleep on Facebook when it comes to local markets. Do Instagram, do TikTok, but don't sleep on Facebook.
Yeah. Zach, I loved what you said about the idea of being in one of those groups. And if you're the landscaper promoting the moving company, going ahead and saying, hey, I use these guys, even from your business page, especially if it's a local business, because, it kind of makes you look like more of an honest business guy in the community. And then the next time that moving company is trying to decide who they want to trim the lawn out in front of their building, they're probably going to give you a call. I mean, that's a brilliant strategy to get word of mouth kind of spread in areas that, you might not really consider. So I love that tip.
It's applicable to a lot of other businesses. Like, I mean, especially real estate agents. A lot of the people I'm working with are people who know social media is a problem for them. They know it's a problem. I'm not having to sell them on the idea they need help with social media. Their Uncle Gary told them they needed help because it's bad. Like, it's that bad. People are very aware.
Not if Uncle Gary
they already
knows.
know.
Oh no.
If you're listening to this podcast, chances are high that you need help in marketing, or you need to surround yourself with individuals who are pushing the boundaries of marketing. With that being said, there's a lot of different things you can do at every point of the way, whether you're a realtor or you're a landscaper. That Facebook group thing, it works for any localized market. There is a if you're listening and you do have a page versus a profile, check to see if the group allows. Some groups will not allow pages to join. Some do. Some is totally fine. So just check that, because if you can be there as such and such landscaping, do that, because then it's clear. I don't have to think about it. But if not, that's when you have to go personal profile and get a little bit more sleuthy about it. But you got to get out there.
I do want to circle back real quick, because we were talking about producing content for local markets, and I do want to point this out too, because like the reason why we still work together is that you primarily do organic social for people. We primarily do the paid ads part of it. That's why we work so well together. But what we see is that you go build an audience, you go get as much attention as you can. Don't worry about where they are. Like, I think people overthink that sometimes, and like, just go get as much attention as you can. You never know who knows who and who's talking, and da-da-da. Let serendipity work itself out.
Right.
But where we can like go hack serendipity, and honestly, Austin in that side of our business goes and does that, is he can drop a pin in your service area and target people that engage with your stuff. And so we can find a way to find every single person that has ever interacted with anything you've done on any of the social platforms. And I think that's why you need a really healthy marketing mix. I think where people get into trouble with social media marketing specifically is that they only focus on that, and they don't respect having the whole thing, and then they just say, I'm not going to do any of it. And so I love what you said about consumption. I think that there's something to that people miss. Like, they don't consume social media the right way or for the right reasons. It's sort of like a passive thing. It's not part of their job. Like, what I would love to see is you put 15 minutes a day on your calendar, maybe right before lunch, and that's when you're cruising through social media, but you're doing it intentionally, and it's not just like an escapism thing, because that's where
you're taking notes
out of it. Right.
That stood out to me. That stood out to me is think back to last night. Last night, You're at home, TV's on, you and your spouse are sitting next to each other, and you're on your phone. Maybe you're both on your phones. That mindset you're in that is not the same as the night before you went into finals when you were in college. That mindset that you are literally spending, maybe it was and you failed finals, but the point is that the mentality that you have to be in is it's consumption versus studying. Are you studying what people are doing? Are you taking note? Austin, you said that, and I think it's great. Are you taking note? Are you noticing those things? Consuming, you're letting social media happen to you. Going and consuming with the intent to implement is you happening to social media. You're going there and saying, how can I take what they did and do that in my business? So few people are doing that. They're thinking they're the same. They're not the same, because one is a relaxed state, one is a proactive state.
Like, oh, I have TikTok. I know what that is. I scroll it sometimes. I'm like, you have not spent the time necessary to actually consume it and understand what's happening. I love that. It's happening
exactly
to you.
and
That's
apply
good.
it to your business. It's like you haven't spent the time to sit there and go, how is this something that I can, what is it about this that made me stop? So many people aren't doing that. They're just going for days. I want to go back to something you said, Chandler, because send it. I want to go back to something you said, Chandler, and I think Austin, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this too. I once heard it said that if there's intentionality put into the content creation, meaning people naturally engage with the creation, paid ads ran against that creative are cheaper. Is that true or false, Austin?
So you're meaning content that's created to be for organic being used as paid? Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, so content that is more, you get it.
That's more engaging, that's more intentionally pulling.
Content that's more engaging, content that is more engaging,
right?
/ creative / interesting is cheaper to run ads on.
I have this conversation all the time, and one of the biggest questions that we get is like, hey, do Facebook ads still work? Do people really click on those? I don't click on those. That's what they'll say. And so you have to stop and think, okay, well, have you ever clicked on one? The answer is yes. How many do you think you click on in a month? How many do you click on in a year? The reality is that the measure for a good Facebook ad right now, it needs to be above 1% click-through rate. If it's below 1%, it's average or it's weak. If it's above 1%, it's above average or strong. And so you consider that, okay? So 1% is kind of the suck bar, so to speak, the kind of the bottom barrier to entry into good creative. You're not asking for a ton there. You're looking for 1 in 100, and it's all about what can you do to stop the scroll. Like we were saying, what can you intentionally put in the creative to stop the scroll? I had a meeting today where we were talking about video and what we're going to put in the video to get people to stop the scroll. And they showed me a video, and the first 10 seconds is, hi, my name is blah, 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 and I'm the senior executive vice president director of blah, 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 blah. And about 10 seconds in, I'm thinking, okay, but I don't care. Like, what is he about to tell me? I don't even know. And so instead we changed it to, do you think that your money is going to last you for your entire retirement? And that's like how it started. Boom. Like, do you think you're ready? And it's like, okay, that feels more like maybe I'll sit back and kind of soak into that one. I don't know if I'm ready. Maybe I'm about to find out. And so like to your point, when it's created in that way and you get people to stop more, the likelihood that they're going to click is obviously better. And I look at these funnels in kind of just a metric mindset. If your click-through rate's higher, even if your conversion rate's the same, you're going to get better results. If your click-throughs, better, you get people to stop, and what the video says is relevant to what's on the landing page, boom, your conversion rate's going to go up. Yep. You do both of those things, and they both get 2-3% increase. You're looking at, a pretty exponential increase in your performance. So yes, I mean, I think it's almost like it feels obvious, but yes, the more intentional you can be about engaging creative.
Let me give you a real organic social ads combo hack here. Post 30 pieces of content, the top 5 from an engagement standpoint and a reach standpoint, because reach is another thing that I care more about now than engagement, even because the algorithms care about watch through and all that stuff. So engagement is sort of a dying metric, if we're being honest.
My man.
Because like there's no to side note here, there's no correlation between reach and engagement numbers. Like they're not the same, but there is a correlation between reach and watch through time. So sidebar, but
a correlation between reach, watch time, and Instagram gives you this, TikTok doesn't, non-followers. Are you reaching a heavy quantity of non-followers with your content versus if you've got 1 million followers and you're reaching 700,000 and your non-follower number is low, but you might reach 700,000 and non-follower number is high. But keep going on what you're saying.
No, and that's good. But the thing is like you post 30 pieces of content, you take the top 5 performers from a reach standpoint, and you run ads against those. Or maybe you even re-record them the exact same way, and you clean up the call to action at the end to more in line with what landing page you're going to send them to. And those ads will have the cheapest CPM versus I almost guarantee they'll have a cheaper CPM versus a ad that you guys sort of brainstormed in a conference room together and then shot. Like it's already been out in the market. It already got tested, and it did it organically, which is the hardest way to get impressions. And so that's what I would do. But I think if you just try to do one or the other side of this, you're gonna have a bad time when it comes to digital advertising. You're gonna always struggle. You're like, hey, why does my organic social not drive more revenue for my business? And it's because you don't know how to run paid ads. You've never done it. You don't understand the mentality required to get people off of that platform, whatever it is, and onto your website. People don't want to do that. The platforms don't want to let you do that, or let the people that are watching your videos do that. And then the people that only run paid ads and they're just in that money-making mindset, they have no idea how to build brand. They had no idea how to tell stories, and their ads suck. And so what you really need
they're
to do
going to have
is be a
really high
practitioner of
cost per acquisition. Yeah. When you have no brand, your cost per acquisition skyrockets. We've seen that with people trying to kickstart.
Yeah, I call that out because I call that out because it's like you think it would be common sense, but it's like, because it's something about when you switch between the two mindsets from organic social media to paid social media. I've been literally in meeting rooms, all 3 of us have, where you have someone on the other end who is paying for it, going, I don't care, just ship it, put an ad out, put money behind it. And we are sitting there with our hands raised going, no, we won't, because it's like, because you can't just buy, like, you can buy attention, sure, but there's a smarter way to do it where you see that collaboration coming into play. Because a lot of the brands, if you ask them, it's like, do you have $100,000 to throw at paid ads this month? They'll be like, no. Okay, great. Then instead we need to do this. It'll still get you the same reach, but long term, are you taking care of your following and your people that are a part of this message that you're sharing? Or are you just hitting them in the face with these CTAs and people are muting you? They're muting your ads, they're muting you. But yeah, people think it's common sense that the ads are cheaper when the creative is higher. But it's not common sense because the amount of people asking us to run ads when they have no creative is like, I can't just slap a button on this and say buy now. Like,
there's also a lens of like, it's not just that an organic looking video or a more authentic is the fun word to say now in social media marketing, looking video is going to perform better, because it's not just me getting my iPhone, holding it up in front of my face and saying, hey, I own a barbecue restaurant and it's great. You should try it. There's the same level of intentionality that goes into really good videos that a higher produced content thing would be. It just looks different now. And the way we record it is on an iPhone, but like the scripting, the hooking, the call to action at the end, all of that is still just as plain as ever. But it comes down to, if you're starting from zero from an experience standpoint, you got to do what you talked about, which is consume. The next thing you got to do, and I'd love to know what you think, is produce. You actually have to go out and make a whole bunch of content. Like, if you're starting from zero, Zach, like how much and how long and how often should you be posting on whatever platform you chose?
How often should you be like, what should your cadence be? Is that what
just
you're
like
saying?
I have a thesis that, like, to get good at anything, you have to increase your input. So you have to see what everybody else does around you. You have to increase your output so that you get real world experience around it. Then you have I'll give you the rest of the episode. You have to look at the data that came in. What were the results that all your activity gave you? Or you call Austin and you ask him to tell you what the data said, because I have no idea how to look at that. And then the last thing is you get a community around you, people trying to do the same thing. The community aspect's important because then you end up pushing each other, you learn faster, all those good things. So
here's my hot take. On cadence. 2023, consistency is the suck bar. That's a Dave Ramsey quote for the suck bar portion. It essentially means to be in the game, aka like you're playing, like you have an awareness of the controls, like you're just alive. That is consistency. And so what that means is that you're actively uploading at a consistent basis, not once a week, not once a month, generally once a day. You're one of the guys, Chandler specifically, who I've seen execute. That was a hair flying somewhere. Just like floated right. But you are one of the guys who, yeah, you are one of the guys who has executed on 3 posts a day for multiple brands, organic posts a day, and it yielded positive results. But I am saying consistency is just, it's not even king, bro. It is, consistency is like bare minimum. What I'm concerned about now, which I think so many people are, I would say the vast majority of people who are in social media marketing are overlooking, is that consistency, it matters, but the quality and consistency combo is the key to growth on social media. Yes, you can grow with consistency, but the amount of people who are uploading in front of a video, like just person talking head, and they're not doing anything interesting, like the algorithm, and they're sitting there wondering, why have I not grown? Why have I not grown? I used to be able to do this and it grew so much. And I used to be able to post a sound every day. Why haven't I? It's because you haven't taken a second to sit there and go, what do the consumers want to see from me? On top of, I think you have to upload every day. It's your cadence question. But beyond that, it's like, it's not just a consistency and cadence, it's quality and cadence.
I think I disagree with you. I don't think it's consistency. I think it's volume consistently. I actually don't.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
I don't think.
I would say it's volume. Volume, consistency to me would be you have a consistent volume.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, you wouldn't do 30 posts on Tuesday and then none for the rest of the month.
Yeah, no,
you would do
that. Yeah, your average
3
posting for the month would be 30. Yeah. That makes sense. The problem I have with people that talk about quality, and I don't know if you feel this way or not, the people that talk about quality from a content production standpoint tend to get too in their feelings, too into their art, they're too into whatever you want to call it, and they use that as an excuse not to go do. And then you ask them, hey, where's the video so I can publish this? And they go, I didn't think it was high enough quality. I didn't like it. And I'm like, you don't know what quality is. You have not done enough volume.
That's a great quality. Yeah, no, here's the switch for that for the audience. You as a consumer cannot judge quality. You as a creator can't judge quality. Right. You're not allowed to. What you are allowed to do is variety. And because variety, with the increase of variety, that's where you'll get the creativity that the consumers will say, that's quality. Yeah. And so, question behind the question, what I think you have to do is consistency and volume, but also volume, including variety. I think that's where you're going to see that quality come from, is because right now, if all you do is tweet grams and you never try anything else, you're going to fail miserably.
Well, you won't know what the marketplace is saying. You know, you won't know how to.
Yeah, you won't know what quality is.
Once you know what your greatest hits are, you play them, right? But you got to try new things. You do the R&D, and you're okay with it flopping. I mean, it's like if you do, 7 posts a week, they're probably videos in 2023. We don't know if that's going to change anytime soon. But for now, it's videos. Like, let's say you're doing 7 videos a week. If you've done it for a while, you kind of know, like, I'm going to post these 5, and I know kind of the range of reach it's going to get. Like, I've got an expectation based on experience.
Yeah.
Those last 2, though, you should go try weird things. I just did this video where I was just reacting to a guy having a hot take on Super Bowl ads, and it had like almost 20,000 views on Instagram, which is like great for my personal account. And when I made that, I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever done. I'm like fake laughing I'm not fake laughing, but I'm like, this guy is saying really smart things. And like, if you don't consume content, you're like, this is weird. It's not very high quality. It's actually terrible from a creative standpoint, but it got a ton of views. And so had I tried to judge it on the front end, it wouldn't have worked. And had I not had a system in place where I was like, hey, I'm going to try to push the envelope and try to find the next hit, it never would have come up. And then I've had things where I really try and I like them, and then they flop. But I think they're high quality.
And again, I think that's the thing, is like, you have to in the world of writing or videos, traditional video content, or in the world of, non-social media songwriting, like kill your darlings is one of the phrases is frequently referenced, which just means like you could bring your soul before a judge, the judges of whatever record label, and they're like, not good, not good, not good, not good. This one's amazing. And you're like, oh, I don't want to kill my, and that's where the phrase kill your darlings come from, is that it's like you may have this emotional connection to your piece and the audience, but the audience doesn't care. The audience wants what is going to help, they believe is going to help them. And it's our responsibility to give that to them, especially if it's one of the 7 things that we just put up. And so the key word that you're referencing, and I love that you're saying it, is try, because so many people have that fear of looking like they said something wrong or looking like they did something wrong, and they're not willing to try things. And I think there's layers to that effort of try. Like you said, you might do a reaction video to someone eating hot sauce, as long as it makes sense to your niche, which is something we can get into later. But as long as it makes sense for your viewers, and when they watch that video of you doing that quick reaction, it literally could be that clip that blows up. But had you not been willing to try it, and only, let's say you have one clip, let's say that video of you and that doing that reaction, and now you get in your mind, this is what works on Instagram now, and all you do are these quick reaction videos, it won't be long before you sit there and go, man, none of this is landing. Why? Yeah. It's because you hit the consistency and the volume, but you didn't sit there and give it that special element of variety that was going to give you different results. So, and it changes. I love that you brought up the algorithm, because right now we're in a window of short form video right now, but Adam Mosseri, the CEO of Instagram, comes out and says, it's posts now. Algorithm changes posts. It's like, we can't, like, that's the nature of our business, right? We know it's going to be crazy like that.
I just want to get on my soapbox about Adam for a second. Adam, this is for you. Okay. You have no vision. You are all over the damn place.
Oh, here we go.
You need to step the fuck up and lead. You react to everything. You worry about everything. And then you spend, you would think I would like that you spend so much time using social media to communicate with your customers, but I don't, because you have no vision. You're constantly overreacting, and then you re-react, and then a Kardashian tweets something, and then you overreact again. And all I'm asking for is some vision. I don't even care if it doesn't work, but take a stand and have some vision. Like that guy has a new update about Instagram's coming back, doing this thing. I'm like, I don't believe it anymore.
He's not
a real in the weeds marketing thing, but like that guy,
that's fine. No,
I'm so over it.
He is not, and I think this is the case where it's like the algorithm. People forget that Instagram, and again, it goes back to some things I have to remind myself on a weekly, daily basis when we're chasing, creating content that works, trying to reach the audiences that we want to reach. It is a stockholder-driven decision-making platform. What that means is if the stockholders feel, the board of directors, if they literally just feel, not based on data, that they're 12, and I guarantee you, mark my words, there are decisions that have been made on the Instagram board based off of what a 12-year-old daughter who uses the platform twice a week said, because that is how it works. And then they use data of all of these shareholders to reinforce their decision that they say, we need to start featuring this type of content again. And so, we need to do reels now because my 12-year-old daughter uses TikTok. She's not using Instagram. So we should change our platform. And then the rest of the board goes, yep, that's what we should do. And so that's why we have this algorithm that keeps just shifting spots, because it's trying to please. And all Adam's doing, I don't have anything against Adam, because he's the face. He's the Tim Cook of, he's not the founder.
He's afraid of getting fired. Adam is so, like, if it is the board, if that's where we're at, then go get fired, because what you're doing,
it's the board. It's what it is.
Well, you're a wuss. Take a stand. Go start your own thing if you're so damn smart, or otherwise you're just
he will.
collecting a check.
I think he will. I think he will.
I think and hope he would be successful if he goes and does that. But as far as
my prediction is that he will,
bro. And what's crazy is, like, since the post thing, so I start watching that, so that news comes out, and then over the next, and I think that was a couple weeks back. Over the next couple of weeks, I'm like peppering in more. I'm like, all right, I'm getting away from video because Adam has come out and said something. And so now we've posted more photos. And then I've got analytics that show that's a liar. You're a liar. You're still doing the
Hey,
same crap.
for those who don't know, because I feel like y'all are super in the weeds here. I just need to step back for 1 second. Is Adam?
Thank you, Austin.
All right, so I do know who Adam is. I'm assuming a lot of people might not know. So is it fair to
That's
say
fair.
that Adam is like the Tom of MySpace? Is that
Yes.
fair, or is he more of a
Yes, Adam
okay.
Mosseri. Yeah, he is the Mark Zuckerberg of Instagram right now.
Yeah.
Even though very different though, because Zuckerberg is founder CEO of Facebook, Meta, and now Adam Mosseri replaced Kevin Systrom. And Kevin, I can't remember the other guy's name, but Kevin left. They both left Instagram as the founder, and they were CEOs of Instagram. They left, and then they brought Adam in and he was on the Meta team, I think, and they promoted Adam to be CEO.
Internally.
But
this is actually a good segue here. I think I can segue this nice. You ready for this? Adam comes out, the CEO of Instagram, and he says something, and then all these articles get written about it because it gets clicks. And then creators and people will look at that. Business owners will go, oh, hey, I got to go do this new thing now. And because Adam said it. And that's really a dangerous thing to do. And the last part, or the second to last part of a good social media strategy is looking at the actual analytics of the content that you're putting out and seeing what's happening. So don't just rely on the advice of us. Don't rely on the advice of Adam, even though he runs the doggone thing. It's like, what is the actual data telling you? So as you're producing content on these different platforms, like what are the analytics that you're most focused on to determine if some content was actually good or if it was bad?
I love it. I love this question. Why I love this question is because people often negatively assume creatives don't care about data, which is not like I'm in the business of reaching people. And if you're telling me that something that I'm doing is not reaching people, then I'm not hitting my mission. Therefore, I'm not satisfied. And so what is important to me right now when it comes to data, it's very platform specific. Reach is overarching. I mean, you could sit there and say reach is the most important metric right now across different platforms because it is not engagement rate. It is not interaction rate. It is, was my content distributed to a wide number of people? On TikTok, I'll get back to this in a second, but watch time, it's amazing that Instagram hasn't caught up to that yet. I think that's one of the big, if I can make a prediction, that's one of the big the forecasting things we're going to see with Instagram in the next 24 months is they will start to provide watch time to their users, TikTok did it almost right away when they gave analytics. They gave, it was like all of a sudden TikTok has analytics and here's your watch time. And if any fun little test for anybody watching this podcast, listening to the podcast, and you guys, go to your most viral TikTok video that you have. And what I mean by viral is the one that you have seen the most views on. I'm almost willing to put, what I got any $100 bills around here? If I'm almost willing to put $100 on, I have like a stack of fake hundos somewhere. It's great. I found a.
Business is booming. He's just got $100 bills on his desk, Austin.
I'm willing to put money,
what are you using this for?
Hard cash, money for. I'm willing to bet that your most popular video on TikTok has a 25% plus completion rate on your video. And why that is important for me is because it's telling me that TikTok is helping me understand that people are watching more than 25% of my video, and they are using that as a benchmark to share that content out to more people. So when people fight me, and this is a long-winded way of saying, yes, watch time, but it's not just watch time. It is, I want more than 25% of people to watch my video. Zach, how do you do that? How do I get more than 25% of people to watch my video? Stop making long videos. Like, seriously, unless you're a makeup tutorial or you're making cakes with glitter on them and there's a Barbie in the middle or there's a whole bunch of other subcategories. But if you are a talking head, you should not be making long videos unless you have an excellent hook and an amazing payoff. Excellent hook, amazing payoff. Because what happens is, to Austin's point earlier, if you don't have a hot take and you just start talking, I'm scrolling and your watch time is dead, it's a lot easier to get 100% completion rate of a 15-second video than it is to get 25% of a 20-minute video or a 7-minute video. And so I would say that's a nugget for Instagram as well, because Instagram just doesn't show you that watch time yet. They do, however, show you follower, which is, in my opinion, one of the best metrics anybody can use for growth right now, because your non-follower number widely varies on every piece of content. If you want to grow to white space, you have to be reaching people who don't already follow you.
If you have a video that gets significantly more views than your baseline, if you go look back at all of your content, you can kind of see over the last 14 pieces, like this is sort of my range of content. For my personal Chandler Lyles Instagram account, it's like 200 to 400 views ish. And then all of a sudden I get one that gets 17,000 views on Instagram. And even though I don't see the watch time, I know it's got a higher watch time because it has such a more significant thing. But
they're boosting. Instagram is utilizing that benchmark to promote content. They just are. We know videos that get a good hook at the beginning do better. Like to your point, that video that you did with that guy, guaranteed it's got a longer completion rate, a better completion rate than other content that you've done. Hands down.
Yeah, and I think it's important too that people know that. So these social media platforms used to have a follower-based algorithm. So they used to look at who do you follow, and then they sort of create an interest graph for you based on that. And then they're going to show you content that people you follow made, and then they might show you a little bit of discoverable content based on that interest graph. But now, or based on that follower graph, I'm sorry. But now, YouTube has always been this way, by the way, or at least they have been for a really long time, because subscribers haven't mattered on YouTube for a really long time. But when TikTok came out pre-pandemic, it was a interest-based algorithm from day one. And so basically it's like, if you like dog videos, we're just going to mainline dog videos all day long. That's all you're going to see. Austin's a Texas A&M fan. He's just going to get A&M videos all day. And that's why he thinks they're better at football than they are. They're not, but he's seen so much propaganda on TikTok. He thinks they're great.
Can I be vulnerable with you guys for a second? I got something weird that happened to me this was the end result right here. Okay. This is so weird, and I was so uncomfortable, so I had to take action to fix it. I watched one video about the Mr. Olympia strongman bodybuilding contest, and I'm not kidding. For the next probably 2-3 weeks, it was just like beefcakes, tans, oils, the whole deal, and I'm like, and so I had to be. Anytime I'd see it, literally, I was like, I told myself, this is over. I'm giving it 14 days of intense. So anytime I'd start to see a little, I'd see a bicep, starting to come up on. Nope, you got to go fast, because. If you give it, like you said, if it's a 10-second video and all of a sudden I accidentally sit there on my screen for 25%, now it thinks I need more oiled up strongman on my screen.
Give me more. Give me more.
So I had to click on all the other videos, like any other video on my screen. I was like clicking it and watching it all.
Zach, the last question that I have for you is about type of content. Okay. And so if we're looking at interest-based algorithms, and I have thoughts about it, but I'd love to know what you think. Like, do you just make one specific type of content? The type of content that, I'm trying to think how to explain this. Like, the style of video can change. Like, you can do talking head, you can do B-roll, you can do memes, whatever. But like, the content in it doesn't really change thematically. Or do you say, do whatever you're interested in?
Oh, Chandler, you know me better than that. So hear me out, guys. One of the biggest breakthroughs for me personally has been just overarching clarity. Chandler can tell you more than any people my history was, should I do music? Should I build this? Should I go here? Should I be this? And I had to really center in. I never wasn't social media, but I know I'm a guy for social media. Like I know I'm the guy for organic social media. And why I found that clarity wasn't just from people telling me like, you're the guy for social media. It was just, I needed to have that peace and make a decision to be that guy. Why did I do that? Because, it's biblical that you can't serve two masters. There's literally, the double-minded man can't stand. And so if you have a confusion in your brand that is, I don't know what Chandler, if you don't have one overarching niche that you talk about, you lose. If you confuse, you lose. And so to me, it is so important, and it's so easy. It is like, there's probably nothing else that could be simpler for an individual or a brand to do than to start with, pick a niche and go hard after that niche. You can do videos in a plane, you can do videos in a yard, but it all has to tie back to a certain area. Does it have to? No, because we're humans. I play music. I love music. I interject that into everything I do, and I use those personalities to color what it is that I do. However, make no bones about it, the content that I produce is about social media. The content that High Beam Marketing produces about is, get this, marketing. And so we need that. Dave Ramsey is a good example of this. If I go up onto the street, and for those of you listening who don't know Dave, Chandler, Austin, and we worked for Dave, and Dave is in the personal finance space. But to the public knows Dave as like, oh yeah, isn't that the get out of debt guy or something like that? Like, what if I said Steve Jobs? What are they going to say? Isn't he like the Mac guy, the computer guy? And so, in order to win in those spaces, what Steve Jobs did and what Dave did was sit there and go, people believe this about me. I'm going to go hard after this topic. Dave made products, he made books, he made services, and has largely kept that business in a successful state for the last 30 years. Same thing with Apple. Apple has dabbled in clothing. If you look up Apple clothing, it comes up, but they did not go after it. Oh dude, Apple fashion was a legit thing for a window of time. They were like looking at it to toy with. Yeah, it's expensive. The vintage stuff is expensive, but long-winded way of saying niche, like riches in the niches. Like that is a phrase on purpose, because to me, the easiest thing someone can do is say, hey, I talk about MacBook Pros, and start there, make YouTube videos about MacBook Pros, be creative about MacBook Pros, and sooner or later people will know your MacBook Pros. What you don't want to do is, I create content about MacBook Pros, but also coffee, also this unique brand of headphones, the DT7. Like, no, get niche down and then make content that fits each platform that you go in, relevant to your niche.
I think the difference is personal and professional, and that's like, you can do whatever you want on your personal account. That's like for you and that's social media for personal use. Like, do whatever you want. Dogs, kids, new headphones you bought, all that stuff. Share them with your friends.
Sports.
Yeah.
Golf.
If you want to break through from a business standpoint, you have to get crystal clear on, we talk about, it's the top of our marketing flywheel, is you're defining your target market. Like, who are the people you serve? Yeah. What problem do they have? And do you have a product or service that actually can solve those problems? And then you make content bringing awareness to that stuff. Well, dude, I could sit here and talk to you all day, man, but I can't believe it's already been an hour, man. This was freaking awesome. Thanks so much for joining us.
Man, I didn't even get to hit the good stuff. I didn't even get to hit. We got still got stuff in the tank, Chandler. You have to have me back.
Oh yeah, I think we'll have to do a part 2. Yeah, for sure.
Let's do it.
Well, Zach, tell everybody how we can find you, man, and then we'll let you go.
You can find me on Instagram. It's Zach Ford. I'm on TikTok under Zach Friendly on there. I did music under that name for a long time. So Zach Friendly on TikTok. And then my business is Enter Square, ENTER Square. We're about to have a spot on the square in Columbia, Tennessee. And so you guys will be able to find us there if you see us. And just keep your ears peeled, because there's a lot happening all across the social media space, and we're going to be here for it. So holler.
Adam's going to have a new announcement tomorrow.
We'll love it.
I appreciate your consistent branding with offices on the square. That's very, very good for you, man.
Yeah, that's how we roll.
All right,
yes, sir.
Well, brother, we appreciate you. Austin, thanks for hanging out and letting two social guys talk organic while, you just have to take it as the paid guy, I guess. I don't know.
And next time it'll be about paid, all right?
Yeah, we'll do. Well, I would love to hear Zach's thoughts on paid ads. That would be fantastic.
I got him.
There you go. I bet you do.
We appreciate you guys listening. We'll see you next week.